In high school, I worked with some special ed kids that were high school age, and I loved them. I fell in love with working with special ed kids and just seeing them grow and develop. My passion has also been for younger children. I've always had a love for babies and seeing kids grow, and so when I came to BYU Idaho, I heard about their ECSE program, which allows me to do the best of both worlds. I can work with young children and children that have special needs. I love this job because I see miracles happen every single day. I get children that come from nonverbal, no movement, and with just a lot of time and effort and strategies, we can start to see that progress of them starting to say new words or make new sounds or start moving different body parts, and it's just incredible. I mean, every day is a blessing in here because I get to witness this. I get to be, you know, in the stands cheering for them, and they just make amazing improvement, and I'm just here to witness it all.
Children, the younger they are, the more that they are able to learn, and we have seen great improvements in children from when they first come into the preschool to when they exit. We often say, oh, I wish we would have videoed them and seen what they were like when they first came in, when they didn't have any words at all and they didn't know how to sit down, to when they're going off and they, you know, are talking or using sign language or have a picture schedule that they have figured out how to use. There's some amazing things that we've seen.
Sawyer came from Infant Toddler Program, and the Infant Toddler Program is a state program with children that have disabilities 0 to 2.9 years old. And when they hit their 3rd birthday, they transition to the school system. The first day I met Sawyer, he actually slapped me in the face because it was just too much. I was a new face. I was right up to him. He wanted to be with mom because mom is his comfort, and I was trying to get him to stay in a loud classroom with new people. It was just too much to handle. And so with time and with parent support and parent suggestion, we were able to do that handoff a little bit smoother every single time. You know, he would cry for mom for, 2 minutes to 1 minute to 5 seconds. He just grew and grew and grew at this. And now when the handoff takes place, it's really sweet actually, because he will see me and hold his hands up and open his mouth and just run straight at me and grab onto my leg and just give me a huge hug, because he knows that I'm safe. He knows that I'm his cheerleader. He knows that I will give everything I can to support him and love him. I will always love him unconditionally. Sawyer is limited on his left side, and so he his hand is not very strong, and he cannot have a lot of control or strength in it. So a lot of the things we do in preschool is to strengthen that left side. Sawyer also is limited in his language abilities. He has a communication device called the PECS on him, and so he has pictures that tell words, and so when he can't say a word to me, instead of becoming frustrated, he shows me a picture. And he says, I want the coloring pages, or I want crayons, or whatever it may be. And then I can say, oh, Sawyer wants to play with Play-Doh. Let's go get you Play-Doh. And so he doesn't become frustrated and angry. Another thing with Sawyer is they're just trying to build him socially to play with his peers by playing appropriately, not running up and grabbing a toy or pushing him down, just to play alongside a peer, contribute into play, and play safe. And he's doing fabulous. He's making amazing progress because we are all here for him and fighting for him.
They come in and they have difficulties with one thing or another, whether it be behavior or social, and then over time you get to see them making strides, and it's really, really exciting when the goal that they're working on, they achieve. For instance, Jonah has goals with reading, and he doesn't know how to read, and so we've been working on that, and he the other day said the word see, and that was one of his focus words, and it was really, really exciting. I remember just freaking out, just being like, oh my gosh, Jonah, this is so good, you did so good, and he was happy and I was happy. And you know, when I got him, he didn't really have much trust in me or anybody really, because he was brand new to the school. And so we worked on that, and he's warming up and he's saying hello to people in the hallways, and he's talking, and he's participating in things that he wasn't participating in originally, which was really, it's just been really exciting to see the growth and development.
Early childhood special ed, well, the certificate represents training that allows our students to serve what would be considered early childhood. So in some states that's just ages 3 to 5, in other states it's birth to 5. As well as children in special ed from kindergarten through 3rd grade, both regular ed and special ed. And so in some states those are all separate certificates. In the state of Idaho, they've blended all that into one certificate. So they come out ready to teach birth through 3rd grade, regular ed or special ed.
Everyone needs to be prepared to teach students with disabilities and make accommodations for students that struggle. Everyone has to be prepared for that. And so the more classes that teachers can take in an undergrad program, the more prepared they will be to deal with students that have mild to moderate disabilities, and those are going to be in your class in sometimes very vast numbers.
The thing that is the most difficult for a lot of, for anybody working in this field, is the fact that you have to be able to distance your emotions when the child is getting out of hand. Jonah will escalate very, very quickly when he doesn't get his way, or when he's tired or he's hungry, and he'll start crying and he'll start screaming and he will start just throwing a temper tantrum. And it can be very, very stressful, especially since Jonah's he's a very big 2nd grader. And he's very, very physical, and everything he does, he doesn't really know how to express himself, so the only way he knows how to express himself is through being physical, and sometimes that can either mean pulling your shirt or scratching or, you know, punching something.
When Matthew was born, he was born 12, 13 weeks prematurely, and it was kind of an emergency, so he made his appearance into the world early. He was about 2.5 pound preemie and was touch and go for quite a few days, you know, in the hospital, but he ended up staying there for 2 months. Sometimes they can have all sorts of different problems due to prematurity, and we kind of ran the whole gamut with the health issues. He didn't start speaking until he was probably 2.5 years old. He was still in newborn clothes when he was like 10 months old. He was just a teeny tiny baby. Got us into the early childhood program, and we got the intervention that we needed there, and we started seeing occupational therapists, and physical therapists, and speech and language. Got him into a bunch of programs that they offered, and it's really, really made a big difference in his life. I don't know where we would be if we didn't have all of that, because he, with our insurance, we're self-employed, it doesn't cover those things, and it was just a real help when we needed it.
I worked with Matthew when he was pretty little. I don't think he was even quite 2 years old, if I remember, but he had some things that were a little tough to work through at the beginning, and we tried some different things and some new techniques with him, and to try to get him to talk a little bit, and he didn't really respond to them, and I remember feeling a little frustrated at that point. But I think that it's important for people to understand that it's a process, and you get them into these programs, you give them some help, and before long they start responding, and you try different things, and over time you figure out what works and they make some progress. I remember talking to Matthew's mom later about how after he went through the early childhood program, he went into the schools, and he got a lot of different types of things and services there that made some big differences. And if you look at him now, it doesn't seem like there's any challenges. He just seems to be right on top of things.
My name is Matthew Flukier, and I like music, and I can partially play the piano, and I can play the cello. So It's pretty fun. I like to go hunting with my air rifle. I like to do airsoft wars and stuff. Just have some fun. Just a few weeks, well, probably about a month or two ago, I made a snow fort over there. Lots of walls and stuff. I made all of this by myself in like 1 week, so we could do an airsoft war on the next Saturday. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I built all these basically just by hand. I used a shovel occasionally, but that's it.
I think I used to be one that kind of had the stigma of, you know, my child doesn't need that, and if my child needs that extra help, then there must be something wrong with me or my parenting. But I've learned that you know, the services are out there, and we need to. They're there for us to take advantage of. They're not, you know. We shouldn't feel embarrassed about taking our children in when they need help.
I'd like to do activities like every Tuesday I go to do mutual and stuff like that. And another thing is I have a good family. I have 5 siblings and 2 parents, and they're all really good, I guess. 3 boys, 3 girls. So yeah, and it's a pretty good life, I guess.
It's interesting, you know, we look at children like Matthew, and he's been really responsive to the intervention, and some kids really do take off and are able to resolve some of their problems. Other children, they're going to have problems a lot longer in their life, and they still are going to benefit from the early childhood. By getting in and starting early with these kids and using professionals that really understand how to work with young children, we can eliminate a lot of the symptoms and problems that they'll carry with their life. And sometimes children will need support throughout their life, but what we do know is if we start early, their lives are going to be a lot better.
Parents do have a difficult time accepting the fact that their children do have a disability. That is a hard pill to swallow for parents. You don't dream as a little child that you hope you grow up someday and have a disabled child. I don't know anybody who had that dream. And so it is a little bit of a dream-shattering experience when you have a child that's born with difficulties and you want everyone to accept them and love them as much as you do. In special education, the early childhood teachers especially kind of have a special place in their heart for those children that struggle, and they work really, really hard to make sure that they're loved and accepted, and that we find their strengths and we pull them out and we celebrate them and we accentuate them every single time we can, and we try to minimize those weaknesses and we try to help them overcome them so that they love school.
For the parents out there who feel ashamed or frightened or alone that your child might be different, I just want to tell you that early intervention is the key to success. If you have concerns about your child, don't be scared. Don't feel alone. Don't feel ashamed. Reach out for the help that is here for you. We know that through early intervention, most children can receive the help they need and come out of their struggling. We don't view children with disabilities. We view every child as a child, and we believe every child can learn. A child with a disability, that just doesn't mean anything. They have a disability, they still have a name, they still have a purpose, they still have a goal in life.
If I were to go and tell someone why to choose this degree, I would tell them that, you know, it's not just you love kids or you like kids, it's you love kids and you want them to succeed in so many different ways.
And you need to be able to reach them so that they don't hate school, because school for them is hard and it's every day they have to struggle through school. And if you don't like to do something, typically you just don't do it. You think, yeah, I don't like to bowl, I just won't go bowling. No big deal, my life will be happy. Well, school's not an option. If you don't like to read, you don't like to write, you don't like to do math, you still have to get up every day and come to school. And the school expects you to have a good attitude about that. That's a difficult thing to do. So as a teacher, you really need to have as much experience with all the disabilities as possible so you can make school a positive experience for kids.
You get to change a life, and that's what teaching is all about, and that's what even more so special education is all about, is you are giving these kids the skill sets that they need to become successful in a world that kind of doesn't know if they can be successful. And I think that's the most exciting part, is that you get to change a life. You get to mold and shape someone into being the type of human being that wasn't easy for them to be at the beginning, that was always had the potential to be there. So it's almost like digging for diamonds. And you get to dig for diamonds every day with these children.
There are so many kids out there who need teachers like us and need to know that they are loved and that they're wanted and needed. And I just hope that people actually take the time to understand how important this major really is. And they just think that, oh, you can go play and you can go color, but really it's not about that. It's about loving the children and making sure that they know that they're loved and figuring out their best needs and wants.
As a parent, we all love our children and we all want the best for them, and we all want them to progress normally and be the best that they can be. And I would tell every parent that if you have any concerns about your child's development, whether it be their hearing, their vision, to go check it out and check out the early childhood education program, because they are there to help and they will do all the necessary screenings, and they are so wonderful to find all the necessary therapists, and they are just there to help you and to help your child to progress and to grow into a normal, happy, healthy child and adult. And they just have done so much for our family. I don't know where we would be right now. I don't know, quite where Matthew would be in his development. I would just encourage students to get into the program. If you enjoy helping children, it's a wonderful, rewarding experience.